I wonder who looked at poke weed the first time and thought it was poison. Um, it's a plant that is highly maligned, and it's just interesting to me how we got to that point. If you don't know a lot about poke, you probably already have the impression you know that it is a dangerous, evil, poisonous plant. And I have it sitting here right next to the stoop, and I'm thinking that even as I know now about it, when I look at the plant, I think of evil. I think it makes me feel like a toxic poison, evil. All of these connotations come to my mind. And I think, did that come across naturally from the plant, or did it come about from a human? Knowing what I know, that poke actually isn't toxic and is amazing medicine that is very, very needed right now for people in our world. I kind of wonder if it isn't just part of the continued battle for the hearts and minds of humans, the souls of humans, trying to separate us from nature in any way possible, to make us afraid. That started with bringing us indoors instead of celebrating God outside. We needed to be inside. We needed to be away from. There were evils and devils in the woods. Some of Nathaniel Hawthorne's books, where we're recalling the devil in the woods, and we have to come inside, and we need to advance our civilizations and move away from nature and the outdoors, where evil and darkness is, and come into the light. And nothing could be further from the truth, because what creation, or what nature is creation. It's God. It's what we were given for food and medicine, and our very real, easy access to commune with our creator has always been nature. It has always been outdoors. So I recently started talking to my my members about poke, and starting, I've got some videos out there that I've done to go deeper into what poke is. And it turns out that no one has, we don't have any documentation of anybody ever having died from ingesting poke. Is that because we instinctively know that it's evil and so we don't eat it? Or um, is that because it's not deadly? The argument would be that nobody has eaten it, so nobody has died. But the truth is that many, many, many people eat poke all the time. It's just in more areas that are closer to cities, we have been completely separated from this food and medicine. So we look at a cluster of berries like this, we look at a green plant with red stems, and we get this idea of what it is. And I think that it's an idea that is being planted in our head. Poke berries are actually, in my mind, a very simple statement of design. We can eat a pokeberry. It is juicy, and it's not delicious. It's not nasty. It's a little tart. If we add sugar to it, it can be delicious. And if I swallow this, if I swallow it whole, it is not going to cause me any negative problems, and it will only give me positives. And I think about, well, how do we know that? We watch the birds. I have a mockingbird that is coming to visit our pokeberry nearly every day, and the birds don't have teeth. So they pluck the berry and swallow it whole. And in the process, this is a design that is intended to benefit the animal that consumes the berry, and it's intended to benefit the plant. And it's very hard not to marvel at how this works and not see a creative mind behind this idea. But the seeds, if they're chewed, if they're crushed, will open up the inside of themselves and release a what has been considered a toxin, and it will cause an upset stomach. And this is it's a plant defense, because what the plant wants to do is be able to plant these seeds. It wants to be able to have a next generation to live on. That is its directive, its original directive, to multiply across the planet. All of our directives are that plants have no choice but to keep after it and do what they're told. So the plant has defense mechanisms to discourage animals from damaging these delicate. There's a bunch of very tiny seeds inside the pokeberry, and dissuading animals from coming along and chewing and eating all of these pokeberries is a beneficial defense. The birds don't chew. They're not dissuaded. They don't have any negative side effect. But they have learned that there's a benefit. They have learned that this is good food and this is good medicine. So they come back. And in fact, because most humans aren't collecting the berries, there's plenty for them to eat and use in this way. So we know that the birds are, I think that was the first thing that I saw when I was hearing over and over again that pokeberries are toxic. They're going to kill you. They'll kill your child if they eat them. Um, then I would watch the birds eat them, and they were just fine. So why were the birds okay if this was so toxic and horrible? And this is something that we have to be careful about. We have to test the statements that are being told to us in modern scientific knowledge. We have to test it about against the realities and the truth that are actually in nature. And when we test it, we need to find why. If the berry is so very toxic, then why is the plant producing it? Because the plant's purpose is to produce something that, in the case of a berry, an animal is going to consume and carry away and plant for them. So obviously the berry is not toxic, at least to something. When we analyze the chemicals that are actually present in a berry, we find that it's just packed with vitamin C and antioxidants, and it's supportive for our lymphatics and our immune system and our digestion. So the toxin is actually on the inside of the seed. If we crush it and we eat a bunch of them, then we can have a digestive upset. We can become very uncomfortable and have pain in our stomach and a really, really bad time. But again, nobody's ever died. But the way that the design is with this berry is that it doesn't germinate as well when it drops to the ground. That seed coat that is around it, and I've talked about seed coats before on these Sundays. Seed coats can be irritating to a human that isn't preparing the food properly. In this case, the seed coat is designed to be worn away by a digestive tract. So the seed is waiting for an animal to come along and take the bait, take the offering of health, and in return pass those seeds unharmed through a digestive tract. And for us and any other animal that consumes a pokeberry, our body takes the nutrition out of the berry, and as that seed passes through our digestive tract, it eats away at the seed coat, leaving just the seed itself to pass out. And if we were animals that were depositing our leavings in the woods, we would then be planting the poke root ready to go with the fertilizer already there. When the pokeberry attracts another animal that is roaming around, that is what happens. In our case, if we do make use of the pokeberry like the animals, we can benefit. We aren't necessarily helping the pokeberry or the poke plant as much as the animal is, but we can still be good stewards and allow those plants to we can share. So I'm going to take a lot of these berries and put them in my freezer, but I'm not going to take all of them because I need to make sure that the animals that count on these can get to them and the plant is able to get to enough animals that it is able to continue on to drop its babies elsewhere to grow and have seeds that germinate. So I have to make sure that the plant and the animal benefits while I benefit from this relationship. But if I consume these berries as my body strips off the I love how somebody always decides to fly over me as I do these. Somebody's doing a flight lesson in loop de loops. So if you can hear that, I apologize for the noise. Um, as the seed coat is stripped away in our digestion, that seed coat is actually impregnated with beneficial agents for us. It is actually supporting our lymphatics. It is supporting our um, cleaning of our blood. We see a lot of pain reduction that is available here. Folks are using these berries to alleviate their arthritic pain and suffering. And so there is much benefit to approaching the plant and understanding the system in which it is existing and not violating those systems and not misunderstanding when we do something wrong and we have a bellyache because we chewed open the seeds. Obviously, that's not going to benefit the plant to have those seeds crushed and damaged. It lured you there to get that berry so that you could plant the seed. So crushing it isn't the right idea. We have to be looking at these systems in nature and not just taking the word of the people that might have it in their interest to separate us from this readily available food and medicine. So I look at this and I see a beautiful, obvious design. And if we think through it and we sit back and we observe and we approach it with the humility of understanding that there is a system that we can understand, that we can watch, and we can make use of, there is much food and medicine around us that we are continually warned away from. We're scared away from. We're seeing so much fear being used to separate us from God's creation where health is, in favor of things that are known to kill people by the thousands every year. Take, for instance, Tylenol's in the news a lot right now. Take Tylenol or acetaminophen is a very dangerous medication. You can get it at any gas station, corner drugstore. It's encouraged to down just like Tic Tacs. It kills thousands of people every year. We are told that poke is deadly and you shouldn't even allow it to grow in your yard because your child might eat it and die, but yet we don't have any recorded deaths associated with it. It is something that we need to begin to question. Um, Again, we don't need to go willy nilly out into the world and start eating everything that we see and trust that everything in nature is designed for us to consume or designed for us to consume in the way that we think we might like to. We have to observe what is going on and the way that that food and medicine is being used by the animals or the other plants or the system that they are plugged into. But in the case of poke, there is a really amazing design encouraging animals to consume those berries and in return receive powerful medicine. And and benefit the plant in return. So it's pretty cool. I pray that God is blessing you today and drawing you outside to look around and question some of these things that you've been told, some of these things that you believe and you know to be true. Ask yourself, why do you know them to be true? Who told you? Where did you get your information? Maybe it's time to take a closer look at some of those through God's eyes instead of the expert's eyes.